Hi everybody, it's Annette from the Art of Intuition. Today we're going to talk about cancel culture as our human aspect would say it. I don't really like the word or the term, but I'm going to use it today. What is that? I'm going to allow it. We're going to allow it today because I want to get into why these things happen in the higher dimensional realities when you look at them. It's not for the human reason. And a lot of this is going to go back to service to humanity. What is service to humanity? A lot of people will think if you're trying to assist a collective, you're in service to humanity. What I do is service to humanity. That's how I look at it. I'm in service to humanity to push humanity forward. That's what I always try to do. That's my service to humanity. But there's a lot of people in different collectives that are also in service to humanity. It just might not look like that because it doesn't look what a human would think as positive. But anything that clears emotions from a collective is service to humanity. If you're clearing judgment, and if people are judging you, you're helping clear judgment from the collective. Okay, that's why cancel culture has become such a big thing. There's so much judgment energy that has to clear. People go right into the judgment because that's how they're clearing the energy from their body. They don't realize they're doing it. I say you really know you've hit a certain place in consciousness when you're judging and you know you're doing it. A lot of people judge and don't realize they're judging. They just think it's okay. And it's not that it's not okay because you have to clear it, but you can also start to energetically clear it the minute you notice you're doing it. Because you're really kind of just judging yourself. Everything's kind of a reflection back to us. So if we are projecting a lot of judgment energy, we hold a lot of judgment energy. But it is a way to clear it from the collective. There's a reason we do it. And different things happen to move people into clearing those emotions. If someone leaves the planet, they die, that's a service to humanity because they're going to have grief come up for people who were in their realities that are still in the physical on this planet. They're going to help clear grief from those people's bodies. They're going to cause sadness to come up. They're going to trigger all these things inside of us. Just like when we see different people do certain things and we judge that, it's helping us clear judgment from our bodies. That's why when you see what people would deem as cancel culture, it all walks, it's always someone, whether they're, famous for whatever reason, they're successful in some way in a third dimensional human reality. In those realities, they have been deemed successful for whatever they've done. It doesn't matter, but they have had a level of success there. That's why on an unconscious level, they decided, I'll be in service to humanity. I'll do this. And then I'll help people clear judgment, blame and shame and anger. I'm going to trigger all that in someone. And I'm going to assist with clearing humanity. People don't look at that as a service to humanity, but it is a service to humanity. It might be unconsciously being in service to humanity, but when we're in our human aspects, everything we do is unconscious. Everything we do is unconscious because we don't realize there's a reason we're doing it. We don't realize there's another reason. We don't see that. We don't have the access to it yet. We have the capability. We don't have the access to it. Everyone will say, oh, I don't have the capability. Everyone has the capability. It just might not be your time yet to access that information. But when you start to see it, you start to understand why so many things have to take place. Why do and you're seeing this in not just in cancel culture, but in a way you're seeing that go over to entire collectives. When you go into the whole COVID reality, the vaccination, no vaccination, who's going to be allowed in this collective, who's going to be ostracized from this collective, from these human realities, from these human experiences, if you decide one way or the other. It never matters what your decision is. It never matters. At least in anything I say, I'll always say, it never matters where you fall on either side of it. It doesn't matter. You're still clearing judgment over something. You're still part of the collectives that are clearing that. You know you're in it. That's your tell. If you are anyway emotionally upset by it, that's your tell. That's your tell you're in that collective. And you're going to be clearing along with that collective. We can still clear along with those collectives because we have cellular, somewhere in our cellular memory, we're still connected to it. We just have more energetic clearing. And sometimes we can have more physical body symptoms. We don't have an emotion around it. You're still ingrained in that reality, in those collectives, if you have emotion around it. There's different reasons. And you can also look at the people who are doing the ostracizing. They're also having a service to humanity. They're removing people from the human reality, saying you can't be here anymore. There's something else you need to go do. You can't be in here anymore. You're not allowed in here anymore. It's now shut off for you. And we see that a lot where people do get ostracized from the human realities. Can't be here anymore. Now, in some of those cases, not in every case, some of those cases, maybe that person was so ingrained they wouldn't have left on their own. They had no reason to leave. They had what they would deem as a successful human reality, even though there really aren't any successful human realities. But, I digress on that one. There really aren't any successful ones when you look at them from the higher dimensional realities. They just look successful. It's measured as successful with other people in those human realities. They might not have left on their own. So they get kind of removed. You can't be here anymore. You have to be out. We don't want you in here anymore. And you start to see how fast their dimensional realities, I'll always say they're kind of built on quicksand, because the minute it's deemed it's your time to go and something is not acceptable in those realities, and what's acceptable in those realities shifts and changes all the time. And to reiterate, it doesn't matter where you fall on any of this. None of that matters. It's just how you feel about it. You have to identify how you feel about it. What's your tell? What are you trying to clear yourself? It's all about what you're trying to clear. You're going to use something outside to do it. If you're still doing it unconsciously, you're going to use something outside to get to you. You're going to be really ingrained in that collective to get to you, because that's what you're going to use. But what's your tell? What moves the needle for you? What gets you one way or the other to clear these emotions? So service to humanity is anyone moving collectives forward. You might look at how that's getting moved forward and say, wow, that's going to be a rough ride. But for collectives, sometimes it has to be a rough ride. Judgment is one of the last things to clear from the human template. It is not an easy ride to clear judgment energy. It's not. And what you're seeing is massive judgment in all collectives right now. It has to be certain people. It has to be in certain genres. You see it everywhere. You see it from the political genre, to musicians. It's all over the place. It does not matter. Some things are still acceptable. Some things aren't acceptable. It's always going to shift and change. But the minute 3D will collapse on you very quickly. And you might think, oh, I built so much into human realities. They can't just collapse just like that. And they're gone like that. Because they're not built on anything substantial. It's about conformity. Whatever you're supposed to conform to in that moment, in a sense. And it's also built on what is the collective trying to clear. And if I'm trying to clear this, and this is where the majority of the collectives are trying to clear this energy, you might trigger that to be cleared, and then you're removed from that collective, in a sense. You're still going to be attached cellularly for a while until you clear that, but you're kind of removed from it. So service to humanity is not just what's obvious. We have to look beyond what's obvious. Look underneath it. When you look at something from your highest aspect, it's not what it is in your human aspect. We have to be able to get above it and really see what's going on, what's clearing for you, what is getting to you, what's your tell. That's more important than the outside external. Okay, that's it. And keep practicing the art of intuition.